I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm very unhappy with the division that we see in the country, and I'm also equally unhappy with the fact that it seems as though the Republican Party has been hijacked.
Ohio Governor and former presidential hopeful John Kasich is not committing to a 2020 run. Not yet, but is the writing on the wall?
Yesterday, Kasich was in New Hampshire. Interesting for the Nacky Loeb School of Communications First Amendment Awards. New Hampshire plays a key role, obviously, in the Democratic and Republican primary process where they choose their presidential nominee. Veteran political reporter Paul Steinhauser sat down with Governor Kasich when he was in town, and he joins us now via Skype. Great to see you, Paul.
Great to join you guys on a snowy morning here in New Hampshire.
Indeed. So what do you think? Is Kasich going to throw his hat in the ring?
He had a jam-packed 24-hour trip, and he put a lot into that trip. Listen, New Hampshire is his second home. Remember, he finished second place here, surprise second place here in the 2016 primary behind Donald Trump. He's got a lot of friends here. I think part of this trip was to remind his friends that he's still out there, that he's thinking about a run for the White House. But there was definitely no announcement this time around. I had a chance when I sat down with him to ask about his timetable, and here's what he told me.
I don't have a timetable, so I don't announce timetables because, I don't know. I have to see what the situation is and whether I could really have an impact, or I don't want to waste anybody's time. If there's not a clear path to having a major impact, and I don't know what exactly that's going to mean, but right now I don't feel any pressure. This is not like the Wizard of Oz where the Wicked Witch comes in and turns the sand doll over and says, "And when this is over, my pretty." I mean, I don't think that way.
Okay.
How about that imitation there?
All right.
Not bad of the Wicked Witch of the West.
Right. Paul, what's your sense there on the ground, though? As many friends as you said who Kasich has there, is it enough friends to overcome the support for the president? I mean, he won that primary overwhelmingly.
I think Kasich realizes that right now, as the way things stand right now, if he would try to primary challenge the president, it would be pretty futile. And he doesn't want that to happen. His lane right now is not really open, but that could change, guys, going forward. A number of things could happen. So I think his whole idea was to come up here, keep his friends close, make some new friends. And as you heard also in some of the sound earlier that you played when we first started this segment, he was also very critical of the president, of the president's divisive rhetoric, and he blamed that rhetoric for some of the big GOP losses in the House races, especially in the suburbs, which we saw all across the country.
You also spoke with former Governor Kasich about whether he really has the desire to be president. Let's take a listen to that.
No. I have a burning desire to make a difference for our country and for people, to get people to understand that they're special, that they're unique, that they have a destiny and they need to find it. That matters to me more than seeking political office. I mean, I've been in political office for a long time. As you know, this last run for president, I think was a tremendous success in terms of being a clear voice inside of our nation. And the idea that I wake up and have this burning desire, that doesn't exist.
He's also been floated as potentially teaming up with maybe a Democrat, Hickenlooper, and running on that side of the aisle. Do you think that's possibly part of his exploration there in New Hampshire as well?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Before he left last night, and it was a jam-packed 2-day trip for him, I asked if he would be back again. And he said, yeah, he would definitely be back. He loves his state. He's also excited about his future, whether that future has a run for the White House or, as he hinted last night, maybe that future is in television. He's excited about his next chapter because, of course, he closes out his 8 years running Ohio in a month and a half. So whether that chapter includes a run for the White House, we'll see. But John Kasich is he wants to be part of the conversation, and I firmly believe he will be one way or another.
I mean, is it your sense, though, that there is an appetite either in the Republican Party or in the Democratic Party for someone who is at this point a sort of moderate, no labelsy kind of a voice like John Kasich?
Yeah, there is a hunger for that, I think, among a certain portion of the population up here. Listen, the Republicans up here are not all in Donald Trump's camp. There are plenty of them up here who are. But remember, Trump won about 36% of the vote up here in the 2016 primary. That meant about 64% of the vote was with somebody else. And if there is going to be a primary challenge to President Donald Trump, that's still a big if, but if there is going to be one, it's going to start right here in New Hampshire. That's for sure.
Paul, what was the message at that event last night that resonated most with the people who were there to support John Kasich? Was it just opposition to the president? Was it kind of that uplifting message that he was saying there at the end? What is it that they're yearning for that the president's not giving them?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that uplifting message. I think a lot of people on the Republican side up here who support some of what the president is doing, definitely support a lot of the policies the president is doing, but they're not happy with his message, his divisiveness. And, John Kasich brings a very different tone and a very different philosophy. We'll see whether that really resonates. And again, right now there's no lane for him, but that could change depending on what happens in the Mueller investigation or a host of other things going forward.
Paul, who else is coming up on your calendar here in New Hampshire in the coming weeks?
It's going to be a little slow because we've got Thanksgiving coming up next week, obviously. But soon after that, I'm hearing buzz about Cory Booker. So maybe we'll see Cory Booker up here coming up in the coming days, or in the coming weeks at least.
That would be a surprise to absolutely no one, I think. Paul, thank you so much. Great
Thanks,
to have
Paul.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Coming up, President Trump once again shakes up the White House order, and will Nancy Pelosi be Speaker of the House?
And the president's battle with the media hits the courts. The Hill's editor-in-chief Bob Cusack gives his reactions to the delay in verdict and all the other news swirling around D.C. when Rising continues.